Spacey, sticky, super cush. It just fits different. Experience a new high. Ultra, stay out there.
Brian Powell of I Run Far here at Abbey Hall before the 2025 UTMB. How are you?
Good. How are you, Brian?
All right.
Yeah.
You certainly enjoy these mountains, don't you?
Yeah, I do. It's been a number of years now of making these mountains my friends.
Yeah. So between CCC and UTMB, you've run the festival here at least 4 times?
Yeah.
What brings you back this year?
This year I'm coming back for redemption on the Big Loop. I had a hard-earned finish here last year, learned a lot, and feel excited to, be coming back and seeing what more I can do out here.
Got it. Yeah, like last year, between your comparison to winning Western States this year or being on the podium twice at CCC, it wasn't your best performance. Yeah. But what meaning did it have for you? Because I think it did.
Oh yeah, it was incredibly meaningful. I was, it was my first big race back after injury, and I wasn't still totally at home in my body yet. Especially this course has its way of drawing weaknesses out of anybody, even the most prepared, let alone if there is any weakness or discrepancy still, it is hard on the body. I thought about throwing in the towel multiple times and kind of learned why this race is such an appealing one to quit, because it has its way of, making you want to throw in the towel. And ultimately it kind of, unknowingly, during the race last year, became kind of this symbol for me to finish and kind of bookend the chapter of injury and put that behind me. So I think despite the fact that, when I was coming out of surgery and recovering and everything, I had these big UTMB dreams, I ultimately still needed more time. But I'm incredibly glad that I finished, because it meant a lot to me.
Yeah. Did you learn anything along the way?
I think for me, ultimately last year, I was still really struggling biomechanically with downhills. Just loading the leg in that kind of single leg mini lunge again and again is just hard. I still had to make more progress there before I could really trust my body, load it again and again. And so for me, already this year, it's been good coming back and feeling more myself on the course. But I guess to answer your question, maybe what I learned last year, besides, maybe some of the physical things, I think I learned just, how much resilience the course takes. That even a successful day at UTMB, I think, is ultimately about really managing yourself and continuing to fight. And it takes a lot of guts.
There's so many stories of people who ended up on the podium at this race who have those things did not go right.
Yeah.
Whether they went wrong early and they came back, or they're just holding on the last 30, 50K.
I feel I've set all of my lowness PRs last year. And I was talking to a few people about this recently, and they're I think it's going to feel better than you're expecting. Because I feel my memories from last year are all just grunting and putting one foot in front of the other and just so brutal. So I feel hopefully it can only go up from there.
Yeah, that's a nice, very low benchmark to clear.
Yeah.
Speaking of benchmarks and expectations, you did win Western States just 2 months ago. Does that change expectations or pressure, whether it's internal or external, coming into a big race like this?
I think for me, if anything, it opens up what I feel I can do at these races. And I think, I've gone for so long in this sport feeling like I hadn't quite squeezed the most juice out of myself, so to speak, yet. If we're using a lemon, that's a lemon analogy. That's what my hand's doing there. And I think it's really validating to close that gap between where I always have believed I could be and what I could actually do. And so for me, it's validating that those dreams are not only dreams, they're things I can actually go out and try to do. And so, it makes me feel I think even more validated about this kind of loop of dream try, attain, because I feel like it's
So it's more opening
somewhere.
a door that you thought was there
Yeah.
rather than any sort of extra pressure. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, this is going to happen.
Especially because I think this year I feel like totally content with already what I've done this year. This feels like, you know, I didn't have to race again, and it feels like a fun choice to be like, yeah, I want to like come out here and, you know, like get back in the fight and like
try. Might as well like get that jar of icing out and see if you want to have some. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. So you're here at UTMB. Do you think a course like this versus a Western stage, do both of them suit you really well, or does one suit you more than the other? Or
gosh, I think up until like this year, I would have said like, oh, I think this is what suits me and not the American style stuff. And then I think maybe Western states threw that on its head a little bit, because I kind of always thought of myself as like a up-down course profile kind of person. And so, yeah, you know, I think now, if anything, it's just taught me about like the merits of specificity, and like when you do put in, you know, a specific block, when you get some time in on course, that's where you feel comfortable. So, you know, fortunately, I feel like I've logged enough years out here that I didn't quite need as long of a window out here as I normally do. I feel like in the past, I've gotten out here in like July, even like mid-July at times. This year we got out here like in the first days in August. So it was enough to do like not a full loop around the mountain, but like a big arc around the mountain, and like remind my body what this course feels like, and, you know, work some kinks out. And yeah, ultimately I feel like the fitness has been able to translate pretty well. And there's a lot of parts in the course too where I'm like, this isn't terribly distant. It's not like night and day from a Western States. There's still grindy climbs. There's still flats. There's like
there's running here,
runnable downhills. There's So of course you know you throw in some, you know, doing that again and again on repeat. But I'd be curious for someone to do the math. I don't know this off the top of my head, but like if you chopped off from like Michigan Bluff to the finish, and if you took those ratios from the start to Michigan Bluff and repeated it over 108 miles.
Would it come out about the same vert? Like, so it's not that it's necessarily steeper or longer climbs. It's just it continues to the end.
I could be totally like barking up the wrong tree with that, but
at least on the
like
descent side, it should be pretty reasonable. Yeah.
And of course, the grades are different and all that, and climbs are longer. But it's been interesting.
And do you feel like you recovered pretty well after Western States? Because that's like it was a huge effort.
Yeah,
obviously.
totally. Yeah, I mean, I think you know, overall the recovery's gone really great. I tried to not commit to anything out here. I mean, as much as were like logistics to figure out of like flights and lodging and commitments and things like that, I tried to kick it down the road as much as I could, because I wanted to not just feel like it was an assumption that I was going to like go for the double, but I wanted it to feel really like a choice. So yeah, like July, we went out to the San Juans, went out to Hard Rock. Like, I feel like I just got some time to just chill and do easy runs if it sounded great, not force anything. By the end of July, like we wove in a few long runs to kind of see like, how does this feel? Does this feel fun? Do I want to go run for, you know, many hours? And yeah, ultimately it was feeling good, and I've not felt like I've had to like go to the well or anything in training. If anything, I feel like I'm coming in kind of undercooked, and I think that's like probably a nice place to be, considering it's a lot back to back.
Yeah, well, I hope you have fun out there and get that redemption you're looking for. Best of luck, Abby.
Appreciate it.